Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL Fantasy trades for round 18 and going through my team whiz, and then also going through the absolute chaos that was I guess this AFL Fantasy round. We had Sarong, basically the whole Freo squad just decimated. We had Sarong, Cox, Young, I think Pierce as well from Freo. So Freo had about 5 or 6 outs. We also had Dunkley not returning. We had Sheldrick out. We had DC just being confirmed out as well about an hour or two ago. And yeah, so we've had absolute chaos to the point that I still have an injured guy on my team list because we had 2 guys pick up an injury in that time. So yeah, I do think a lot of people will be playing with a rookie, or a lot of confirmed full teams, like completed teams, will be just sideways trading at this point. As we had a couple of outs of 10% guys, like Dunkley is still held by 45% and Darcy Cameron 10% at the moment, but that'll shrink. Sheldrick is down to 36% as well, so that there's that. Sarong is, what's Sarong at now? Sarong's at 15%, but I'm sure he was higher. And yeah, so there's a lot of guys that are injured that need to be replaced. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, you probably can already see a couple of my trades, as I actually will just do this. I might as well do my trades first because there's a lot of chaos going on. And the reason, so obviously I've done, these 2 are still out injured, so I just need to move them on. And Dunkley was a bad choice not moving him on, as it basically cut me out of getting, I think, Steele or something like that, maybe this week or other. But nothing I can necessarily do. But we'll just have to wait and see with, I could obviously go back and try and work it out, but just need to probably move on and just put it behind me and take some learnings out of it, that you can't really trust anything that's 1 to 2 weeks. Always probably think of it and be conservative, because in the way that AFL is played, there's a high chance that you do have injuries, especially around this time of the year. So I'm probably one that's now going to, in the future, decide to trade these guys rather than try and hold them against a lot of the comp. So so that's why Dunkley is being traded out, and Darcy Cameron, as it facilitates Sicily, who I think will be a top 6 defender for the rest of the year, especially because he's getting back that role as that sort of sweeper, and he's playing North Melbourne. He has Richmond, which should be a good game for him. He also has Saints, and I'm pretty sure he went huge against Saints. He had 165 against the Saints. And then he has Collingwood. Has he played Collingwood yet this year? No. Has he played North this year yet? He played North and got 132 as well, so there's backing behind that. Then he also plays Western Bulldogs, and he put up a 96 against Western Bulldogs, but that's at UTAS, where he scores really well. And he has Melbourne, where he put up a 103. And then he also has Freo, where he play Freo? He put up a 70 against Freo, but it's last game of the year. We'll see what happens with him, and I'm expecting him to be able to bounce back, as I don't know if he'll necessarily need to, with Frost and some other guys, Tools being down back there, whether he can play roaming third man. And then Mills is there to be able to facilitate pretty much any move in the for the M8 role next week in getting Wintagel or Johnson up to anyone. Himmelberg is a guy that I've been, and this is probably the problem that I've had, and Himmelberg is the knockdown effect, is that I'm not terribly disappointed in having to hold on to Himmelberg, but I'd like his numbers to obviously be a little bit better. But also, I think if I was able to trade Dunkley, I think he's the one that would be able to go up this week if I had traded Dunkley back a couple of weeks ago. And that's the reason why I'm a little bit disappointed, is that I'd have probably Steele instead of Himmelberg. And that's basically what I think would have occurred. I think I still would have had the one player on the, I would have still had the one rookie on field, but I think it would have been Steele over Himmelberg, which probably is about 10 to 15 points. So it has probably cost me holding Dunkley a good 25-30 points at least, but it's not the end of the world, I guess. As a lot of people had, when I had Johnson, a lot of people had Sheldrick, etc. So it was only like 5-10 points, I guess. There. So, but then there'll be a knock-on of effect of, I think, 20 or 30 in this week as well. So that's why I've gone with Mills, because it opens up to a lot of players. I'm not 100% set on Mills, but I think with Sheldrick being out and Warner being out, he's got that on-ball role where he can easily go 130, 140 against the Bulldogs. If we look back here, this one's haven't played the Bulldogs, and I think he matches up well against the Bulldogs, I believe. Oopsie, that was probably loud. If I look at this, that's why I need to get a mount for the for my microphone so I don't keep on hitting it. Mills. If we look at Mills here, against Western Bulldogs, he averages only 82 points, 2 and 1. If we look here, can you go to the Western? No, that's Adelaide, the Western Bulldogs here. And you look at a lot of their stats, a lot of just him not scoring well up until about 2021 against them, where I don't think he was playing any CBAs. So when he gets high CBAs, or just CBAs in general, it looks like he scores really well. So I'm still picking him for that, as I think he's got a lot of gain in him, but I wouldn't be surprised if I flip this to Steele. Anyway, as I think I can still get value out of that, and Steele would be 156k more or something like that. So I'd have 20k spare, plus Sheldrick and Johnson should be able to get me up to around that 850k of a midfielder. If I look at midfielders, 800k or something, or just anyone 800k, and go L3, I'm looking at potentially even just getting Mills if he scores well. So it's all about trying to find, I could go Mills, Steele might jump above that, but Steele is certainly in the equation. But if I get, I don't know what I'll do, but I think I'll get someone, obviously, and Steele might come in. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Steele's in the question. Maybe Wangadeen Malira. We'll have to see on that one. Could get Warner, but I don't think I will. But I think there's so many options around about that price, as well as what's Butters. AFL break evens. Let's see with Butters. Butters has a 136 break even. So if Butters actually, now thinking about it, because that's going to get me, if I do that, I'm probably going to be able to get Butters no matter what, and Butters would get me that last spot here, and then the week after I can go Himmelberg up to a premium midfielder with Windhager, and that would pretty much sort my side out. And then I just have Keys as the odd one out. So I think that's sort of the way that I'm going to go. And that's sort of the plan going forward. And we'll wait and see with other things. And then I can obviously I can go Keys up to Dunkley in a couple weeks and move on from there. But back to the actual team. And I think this will be quicker because, I've done... This team is pretty much set in stone and there's not too many options, even with this madness of a week. So Dawson, Dacos, Doherty, Sinclair, Stewart, and James Sicily is the absolute top 6 defenders this year, I'm pretty sure, for the rest of the rounds. Even if we look at all prices, positions, defender, 3-round averages, you've got Duncan and Ryan sitting there, and Duggan, who are on the cusp, but you've got a 140 L3, you got 105, which is close. You got Sinclair 114, you got Doherty 117, Dacos 127, and Dawson 145. These 6 are pretty much top 6, all of them. If we look at average overall, You see 101, and you've got Sicily here 106. Stewart 93 is a little bit off, but that's because he had a injury game. If you take that injury game out, he's pretty much top 7. Sinclair is Ryan is a little bit ahead of Sinclair, but I think Sinclair's got that rollback which will bump him ahead. Doherty is well ahead, Dacos well ahead, and Dawson is also well ahead. So I do think these guys are all in the top 7 defenders. It's just a matter about Ryan and if he is top 6 or not. And I don't know whether his score this week will reflect that or not. So I think Sicily is the safer bet. Then we have Bont, Merritt. So yeah, that was pretty quick going through those guys. And then these guys here, Chesser and Mullen, are just here for cash gen and just get some more money because next week the plan is to probably get Butters to firm up the forwards, sorry, and that'll get probably Mills down to the M8 role, which I think is really good value there. And then also that'll mean that basically in the next 3 rounds, so round 19, 20, 21, all I got to do is fix up this last spot here and then also fix up Himmelberg and Keys and get them to my desired targets. My desired targets are Sarong, probably Sarong for that M8, for that M7 or midfield role, then also probably even getting Dunkley and Butters back would basically finish off the team, I think. So that is basically the plan in the next 3 weeks. And how am I going to get there? I think getting Butters or Sarong is the plan next week, as I think Butters will even drop a little bit more, so we might be able to hold out from him for a little bit, but he's definitely in the top 6, I think, forwards this week. Forwards average, you've got also could target McRae as well. He's up there as well. And if we look at L3, you've got obviously these just forwards kicking on. You've got Martin doing well, both Martins doing well, Heaney, etc. And I think Butters is down just because of that one bad week. A 77, 102, 86. I still think he's good value. So especially this week with a lot of the players out for Port, but I do think that Sicily is the better option as you're going to fall out of his price bracket, or he's going to go up 40, 50k with the projected score I have on him, but Butters will keep his value. So I think getting Butters is going to be huge. Could also look at Neil as well, but I think Neil is probably going to be a luxury trade for me or something like that. Or having Neil and Sarong will be a luxury trade, but getting at least one of them will be, as I have Crouch and Green that probably need to be on the way out, but we'll have to wait and see with that. So yeah, if we go to these, so Bont, Merritt, Brayshaw, Petrarca, these guys all, or at least these top 3 will be here. Petrarca is a luxury trade, maybe in the last round dependent, but he has the Swans, which could easily be a bloodbath for him. He might even kick 4 and have 30 odd touches. That's how bad the Swans are. Crouch, even though he didn't perform last week, he's still done ridiculous things. Basically, since his bye, he's gone and averaged 110, so he'll still be there. Green's just a little bit down. He's gone 104, 108, 69. So he's had 2 bad weeks basically since round... He's had 3 bad weeks basically since round 2. So yeah, he's been, even though it's like he's been a little bit out of form, it was just sort of 1 week that was sort of making it look like it, but he's still been a great pick at 107 average. Mills, I'm bringing in him because he's got that midfield role, and I think that's going to really, really help him. And then Wintager is my guy on field at the moment, just based on the fact that I think he gets that midfield role back, or even just chipping it around. And he's got Gold Coast, whereas Freo have Collingwood. So unless Johnson is named on ball or whatever, which I doubt tonight that's going to happen, I'm going to go with Wintager, but we'll have to wait and see. I do think that out of these 3 guys, I've got to hope that I can make up the cash, because Wintager is currently 270k, and that would be 270k, and I think that would be enough, even though I think he's going to go up by the time that I trade him to around that 530, 540, and that would be enough for me to get Himmelberg up to any of those top top mids if I do go Butters, or if I want to get Butters, then that will be obviously enough to get him. Then Johnson and Uland. Uland is my loop if I do need a loop, but then also can use Ramsden if I do need it, because Hawthorn play on this Sunday, and I can always just, if English doesn't perform, which he should because he's playing McLean and Amati and Fox, he should be able to put up a good number, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And then you've got Marshall here. Just doing his thing. They're both the best two ruckmans to have at the moment, even with Darcy as that third ruck. If only one of them had forward status, that would be amazing. Ramsden's here at the moment, but he can fling around quite easily depending on English's score. Taranto, captain against the Eagles, he should go 10 or so above his average, which is 120, so that would be a 130 score. If English doesn't go above, I think 117, I think is my marker now, I'm going to trade him. I think 117, which is his average, is a good marker to have, as I think he will go absolutely nuts. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on about 85 at halftime. And then, so you got Marshall, Ramsden, Tim Taranto, Rosie, Golden, and then move that around because I like my pricing and it looks better than having two GWS guys. For starting only and having like one GWS guy throughout the whole season, now to have three, it feels like... And also to have two, at least Bulldogs guys, it feels good to have those guys back, those fancy relevant guys, at least from last year. It felt like I was having at 1.4 of each. So to have back a couple or 5 in total between those two teams is quite, I find it good. And then you've got obviously Gordon, Canelio, Keys, Himmelberg. These guys are all pretty constant. But we will see, I think, by the end of it, Keys and Himmelberg upgraded. And also look out, for me at least, I'm hoping Noah Long can continue on, because if he can get up to 400k, that gives me the pick of getting anyone with Keys. And so I think that is definitely the option. And so I just need to complete the forward line, and this last midfielder spot are definitely getting this last midfielder spot up to a premium, but hopefully Windhagen can go huge, because that'll be massive. If Windhagen can go like 110 and cover off any other midfielders, I'm pretty much happy. It's just this last, I'm going to cost myself 30, 40, 50 points in this last spot. If you go by projected, but if he can cover that off and go 90 or something like that, then that's fine, honestly, because you'll have other guys who have picks that in that spot. I know Neil is probably going to go nuts and go like 115, which I'll probably lose by like 30 points, but it's not too bad for the position that I'm in. And I get rid of DC, who I think was quite annoying at times, and I think Himmelberg could easily go and score really well against the Crows, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Sheldrick obviously injured, so there's actually no point having the emergency on him. Who did that emergency go off? It probably went off Mullins, I'm guessing. I'll just put it on Chesser here. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much with that. That's basically it, because there's nothing much to talk about, and I've gone through my plans for the next week. So that's the video there, and I'll see you guys in another video sometime soon. It will be the game reviews, or whether I have enough time to film start getting some video games potentially out on the channel, but that will be sort of a weekly thing, I think, at the moment, depending on how I feel, but we'll wait and see on that one. So see you guys in whatever my next video is. Thanks guys, goodbye.